Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. Hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way. Lord, guide my path, show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me, and through the tribulation I know I must stand. A new earth, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion, to Zion. I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. Oh, there's something with my family, I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me. I lay down my life, I'm begging, please, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength, give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion, to Zion. I'm on my knees, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion. Yeah. To Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Lord, place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion.
We turn now to the ongoing chaos in Hong Kong, where we have...
After the Earth shook.
It's being called a catastrophe of major proportions.
An extraterrestrial invasion.
What's that smell?
No lights. Oh, who's there?
What's going on inside my house? Fire! What's all this?
It's cold in here. So cold. Come here, hey. Come here. What's that?
Police! What? My brother was talking about.
The Most High God of Israel will send a judge. He's sitting soon. He's coming soon. Are you ready?
He told me Washington was coming.
Who's at my door?
Elder McCall. They was teaching me, but I ain't listening.
Let go of me!
Get the girl.
Lieutenant, sir, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to murder my own people. You do your job, soldier. They're innocent.
Somebody help me. Help me, please.
I should have listened.
The sky's no longer blue. Send your angels to pull us through. See what your world's come to, and it's plaguing us all since the fall. Lord, I know we must be strong through it all, and I know we must endure, 'cause we served too long, but now it's over. A strong wind coming, there's trouble in this storm. Nowhere to run, no peace, and there's no calm.
So tell me, where will you
I see people, they're running, the hell is coming strong. So tell me, who will stand after the fire's gone? No more society, the storm took everything. No waking from this dream. We must withstand the rain, the rain. Lord, we are the chosen. We must go through it all, and I know we must believe that you can bring us through. Again, cross over. Wind is blowing. There's trouble in the storm. Nowhere to run, no silence. There's no calm.
So tell me, where will you
I see people, they're running. The hell is coming strong. So tell me, who will stand after the fire's gone? See, there's no need to run. There's no shelter can save us from the rain that we all knew would come. Yeah, the sky is dark. There's no more day. I knew fires gone.
Who will stand after the fire's gone? Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shiara of the Gathering of Christ Church. I hope you all are well. I hope that you all are healthy. And above all, following the Most High above man. And when we say above man, we mean above all men. Following the Most High's kingdom and government above all governments. Based on what I've been seeing in this last week or so, it's clear, and Elder, you can chime in at any time.
Yes, sir.
It's clear to me, if it haven't been, I mean, it's more clear than ever when Christ said that it was mentioned that a kingdom is for a few. That it's a straight gate that only few enter in. When I look at the pandemonium, the panic, the confusion that's going on in this world that not even your government can resolve. Now I understand what it means that the kingdom is for a few, because really when it comes down to it, this is bigger. I'm speaking in the midst of this Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's deeper than a so-called pandemic. Satan now have full board to go against the unrighteous. And now the payment is due. This is how Satan is actually going to be allowed. Listen to what I'm saying clearly. This is the time in which the Most High have allowed Satan, based on sin in the earth, to begin to sacrifice the sinners. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on. And it's not that the Most High is saying, Satan, go sacrifice the sinners. No. It's the God that we obey who requires a sacrifice. Now, Christ requires a sacrifice, but we'll live through that. But the God we obey in this earth also requires a sacrifice. So because we chose to sin, because we chose the tree of good and evil, now it's payment time. It's time to pay up. And when I say the payment, souls. Souls. Who will stand after the fire is gone? We're now in the Feast of Unleavened Bread at the end of it. We're at the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I'm hearing myself back in there. Let them know. I'm not going to be able to concentrate this way. I'm going to tell you this right now. Brothers and sisters. We're in the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I'm going to show you the significance of this. The powers that be understood. They've always understood the times according to Sabbaths. They've always understood, brothers and sisters, the times according to Sabbaths. Come here. 1 second. Come here. Come on. Okay, just stay over there. Let them know that they're going to have to just open the door and see it right there. It's fine. Right? Satan requires a sacrifice. He requires it. So now the payment's due. Today I'm going to go into a few seals that has always been broken. go into the seals and give brothers and sisters an understanding of the seals, because some people out there might believe, and this is why the Christian church rarely goes into the book of Revelation. They don't understand it. And that's wild that they don't teach the book of Revelation's end-day signs, when those were the signs of the end given to John on the Isle of Patmos to the 7 churches. The original churches of Christ would understand this time, and they would stick in Revelation during this period. And that lets you know that the Christian church has been hijacked. And I'm going to tell you, many people in the modern day pagan Christian church will be sacrificed by Satan. They will fall victim and are falling victim to the plagues. That's what's going on right now. And I'm going to tell you this. The plagues that's going on in the earth will disproportionately affect the children of Israel who are scattered throughout the earth, more so than any other people. Why? Because that's who Satan has aimed his war against, understanding that the poor, the destitute, the fatherless, the homeless, the people that have always been spread throughout all of these ghettos throughout the earth who built these empires, Satan understands that these are the people for the next kingdom. So how does this fall into the Lord's Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread for the righteous, one might ask? And why am I teaching this lesson all together? Because the so-called powers that be have strategically began this particular calling and sacrifice during the same time of the true Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. So this is a time in which the righteous who could see now, who can actually see, begin to become unleavened. The sins that have always pushed us back and made us fall back 3 or 4 steps. That's the old leaven. Going into the old way of thinking, that old man. The Most High give us an opportunity to say, well, listen, don't let none of the old man affect this new creature going forward. If we go into who we were before this, all of the plague that's coming after this will affect the children of disobedience. If you would like to understand how to get through this, listen to this video today. If you want to understand what this is all about, listen to this video. If you haven't believed the Bible before, that's fine. You will after this. You will after this. What is our lesson today? The lesson is the end of the feast. A lesson titled Prophetic Engineered Plagues Leading to the Mark. Prophetic engineered plagues leading to the mark. Because some people out there are confused to some degree. Some people out there believe that for some reason, either the plagues are coming all from God as an amendment on this earth, and man has nothing to do with it at all. Some conspiracy theorists believe that it's the elite powers, the Illuminati, working against the citizens of the world, and they have engineered the plagues, and there's one debate against the other. But the Bible brings things into full clarity and gives the right perspective on this. When it's the Most High working and when Satan's powers are working. That will be cleared up today. Okay? Because the elite powers can only do what their God they serve, Satan, allows. Satan can only do what our God allows. And Satan can only attack those who are under his power through their disobedience. That's how it works. And see, and that's the power as believers we have over the children of disobedience. Okay? So I need y'all to follow with me today this lesson at the end of the feast. How under the Old Testament, under Moses, we ran out of Egypt in haste and forgot to get leaven. So we had to make our bread without anything that would affect the bread being kneaded. And once it's baked, it couldn't rise because there wasn't any what? Leaven in it. No yeast that could make the bread rise. A little yeast changes the whole composition of a loaf, right?
That's right.
So think about it. You may want to do the right thing. You may have a good conscience to do the right thing. And you have a whole body, a temple, which belongs to the Most High, applying it to how we apply that Old Testament leaven to Christ. You have a whole body that can do so many things on this earth righteously to guide people in the right direction. But a little leaven, a little sin changes the full trajectory of anyone's or any particular person's purpose. Just a little leaven will change your full direction. Just a little bit. You can put a little bit of baking soda in bread. Guess what? You can have a whole bunch of flour and just throw a teaspoon of baking soda in it and the whole thing rises. Put a little yeast in a whole big thing of flour with water and put it in and the whole thing blows up. A little fornication, a little lying, a little deceit. We may think it's small, a little lie. That little leaven changes the whole temple and puts us on an entirely different path. And once one as God's temple vary from that path, you're now subject to the God of disobedience, and all of these apparatuses that are engineered will affect you. I'm going to show you exactly where this is going today during this time. At the same time, the whole earth is running a satanic military operation against the world. It's time to more so focus on what the Most High is saying through this. What is he saying through this, brothers and sisters? So, Elder Lawyer, I know you have a few things that,
No, sir, I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Let's go straight to Corinthians. Go back to where we left off last week, in which Paul was writing specifically about that communion, how churches are supposed to commune, and what mindset, what spirit we must be in during this time of year when it means no leaven. This is why all week we were eating the matzah crackers with no leaven in it from day to day, to remind us of how we must empty our flesh from the old man. Are you following me here? Come on, Elder Lawyer. I need you to read that for me real quick.
1 Corinthians 11.
Now, we're going to talk about what Trump was doing and what Trump and others are doing in a minute on the political side of things. Don't get caught up into the political football, all right? In a nutshell, they're going to try to make it Democrat against Republican. They're going to have Trump seeming as if he's for the citizens and he's trying to do things. And everything he does will lead to, quote unquote, as they claim, more pandemics. It's the left-right paradigm. But all the while, the agenda that they set forth way before this, Democrat and Republican together, will what? Will go forth as legislation against citizens. So don't get caught up into what Trump is saying right now, and don't get caught up with what the Republicans are saying right now. Hear the word of the Most High through this, because we're going to show you the God they serve within this lesson. So right now, we don't want to hear what anyone is saying outside the Almighty, because it doesn't make a difference what Trump and others are saying if you out there cannot resolve it with the word of the Almighty and bring some level of levity and the right perspective to what's being programmed into our psyches. All of that will be addressed in this lesson, brothers and sisters. Let me tell you, I was up before the sun came up, and it was clear. I mean, it was no sun, and I was just thinking. And usually I pop open my computer or whatever the case is. I left the computer there, and I just sat there and thought. And I'm like, it's totally clear what I have to teach for the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Because just like that unleavened bread is leavened, we must be leavened starting now, going forward to make it into Christ's kingdom. Going forward. That old man that was last year must die. He's given us I'm going to tell you, Christ is giving us an opportunity through this. Don't try to act like that this crisis just began. Our crisis began when we began to disobey our Lord and Savior in the Old Testament. Don't believe that this crisis for us, we've always been under a crisis. It's just that now you're being reminded of a world that have always existed against us. So don't get caught up. What people who have suffered what we have suffered, how is it we don't know what a crisis looks like? Our neighborhoods is a crisis. Not knowing whether or not our children will come back home the next day is more important and more important than what we're seeing right now. We've always lived in crisis and through crises. Separation of homes. Children are growing up without even knowing, anything. No education concerning their history. Separated homes and broken homes. We've always lived through crisis. So you must get the proper perspective of what's going on here. It's not a crisis because the government says it's a crisis. Okay? And that's deep, that we fear man over the Most High. That's the deep thing about it. We've always been under a crisis, folks. But you've ignored it because why? Satan for a long period allowed you to live under your crisis as normal. So that you could now do what? Develop enough sin to defile your temple to the point of malignant. And now he's cashing in. He allowed you to live under your crisis. Kill under your crisis. Fornicate under your crisis. Become atheist and not believe his word. Not hear God under your crisis. Let me tell you, I've been under crisis since my forefathers were brought to our land to serve our enemies. So Satan allowed you to sit there and believe that your crises were normal. Cat smoking blunts all day, getting high all day, smoking crack all day, not caring for the children, playing video games all day, totally ignoring the world that about to change, not even recognizing the world is changing right up under you. We have always lived in a crisis, folks. But now, Satan now, let me tell you, the earth hasn't been as ripe as it is right now for him to sacrifice souls. Satan is going to seize this opportunity. There was no other time in the earth in which the earth was filled with sin like this. He has to get his souls now before people begin to wake up. He's cashing in now. Okay? And then after a few years ago, under the Obama administration, after they made gay marriage and all that legal and all that, Satan was like, well, okay, everyone can accept this now. In a few more years, I'm cashing in. In a few more years, When sin becomes normal, perversion comes normal, and God is non-existent, hey, now, this is my world. Now, before these people begin to understand they've been deceived and tricked under sin, I'm about to kill them off and sacrifice them. Their souls come to me. They're going directly to hell. And that's what we're in, folks. We're in a spiritual warfare for souls. So I'm about to go in. I'm going in today. A lesson, a prophetic engineered plagues leading to the mark. Elder Lawyer, I need you to read this real quick for the church and for those who would have an ear. Let them hear outside of the church what this unleavened thing means for us now. Because it's deeper than not having yeast in your bread for the week. Like, because even when the Jewish people, when those who study Judaism or Israelites, they may deal with the tradition of the unleavened bread. But what good is it not having yeast or leaven in your bread, but yet the leaven still exists in you? You're just dealing with a tradition, but you're not changing. See, one thing about the sign of the leavened bread is if you don't put any yeast in the flour and in the composition, it won't rise. But how does that apply to you? You're dealing with the feast of unleavened bread, eating flat crackers, but still sold under the same sin. You're still leavened. So what good is it, the tradition of the unleavened bread, if we're still leavened? If the sin that beset us, that befall us, still exists. Let's read it.
1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse number 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. See, this is what Christ was coming down on the Pharisees and scribes about. That you deal with the traditions of the Old Testament, but you have the leavening of murder within your temple. You're seeking to murder me. So there's flat bread everywhere for the Passover, lamb everywhere, but you're still wicked. Your eye is still evil. There's no forgiveness in your heart. You can't even forgive your own brothers and sisters. The only thing you can see is what's wrong. You never look inwardly and say, you know what? I don't need to view my brother or sister this way. To the degree of what? Not being able to forgive him or her. And let me tell you, that's a wicked, nasty, evil, disgusting spirit. When someone have in their heart that they cannot even forgive their own brother or sister or someone in their immediate family, that's a disgusting demon. It's disgusting. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to take that spirit to move you through through all of this, folks. Because why? Christ isn't the accuser of the brethren. He's not always pointing to what we've done wrong. And he's not saying to us, well, listen, my blood is not covering that sin. The wickedness you have done, my blood don't cover that. I'm going to tell my father not to forgive you. No, that's the devil accusing. So when you don't have a spirit of forgiveness in you, you really have to check that. That's a leavening spirit. I don't know what it is in my heart. I find it hard to forgive. I find it hard, even though I try. You got a demon in you. You got a demon in you. That's what it is. You have to empty yourself. And even, guess what? Even if someone want to try to hurt you and all that, you still forgive them. It's tough, but it's true. I can forgive you without giving you the opportunity to do it again, though. But I'm not going to carry that weight of hatred against my brother or sister, regardless of who they are and what they think about me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to like what they're doing or how I'm feeling especially when someone is spiritually assaulting you. I'm not going to like it, but I'll still forgive them. Because why? I'm not going to carry their demon and allow their demon to gain entry into me. That's leaven. That's weight. That's heaviness. See? Come on.
Yes, sir. 1 Corinthians 5 and 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
Come on.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened.
And that's what this time is for, this time of reflection. This quarantine can work on two levels. It can work how the devil is utilizing it under the veil of this virus to kill many people, and he will kill many people. I have something to show y'all today. And he will kill many under this. Or you can use this as a time for prayer when Christ says, go into your closet, link directly with the Most High and be guided through this. Guess what? I don't fear one iota. I don't fear nothing in this. Nothing. Because I understand the spirit of panic is a demon. That Satan's government are banking on. Okay? Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Purge out therefore the old leaven.
Purge out the what?
The old leaven.
The old man. Folks, let me tell you, this movement isn't a physical movement. We'll be guided spiritually throughout this whole thing. Since this ministry began, regardless of what your optics are telling you, we've always been led through the Spirit. When it was time to go out as he coats before the flock and everyone thought we were crazy, we went. We had no idea how we were going to sustain. But it was to set up places and to let everyone know it's okay to operate or to walk away or fly away from your land of servitude in time of trouble. Some things I understood, and the things I didn't understand at that time, the Most High cleared up as he guided us through the Spirit. Also, the Spirit, when it was time to come back and warn people before it's done, before we're gone altogether, we were guided back. It was all the Spirit, where the Most High made it where there was no other alternative. I could have went anywhere. I could have been right now, and I could have been in Brazil. I could have been anywhere. I could have went anywhere. But it was time to come back and warn the people. It was all through the Spirit the whole time. And here we are now. If you focus on this video, folks, and understand where and read this Bible with us today, the whole thing will come clear that it begins with what? Your clarity. Cleansing your soul, cleansing your spirit to hear what the Spirit is saying through this. It's the Spirit that's going to gather the elect to the elect. We're just doing our part. We know it's the angels working. It's the angels working and moving us all together to help our people through this. I know that. But I'm just doing my part. You all have a specific piece, whether you know it or not. But if we are filled with that leaven, that will block that connection with the Spirit that would guide us all together. Read.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened.
Read that again.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened.
Purge out the old leaven, so that you can be a new lump. Now I'm going to show you as this lesson goes after the Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread, how Christ uses that lump that's now susceptible to the principalities and powers of the air. We're going to show you the physical side as well as the spiritual side. What the devil is doing and how to overcome what the devil's doing. There's two components working here. Spirit, flesh. If you're under flesh, there's a good chance you will be one of the early sacrifices. That's just as clear as I can't get any clearer than that. Read.
For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
Even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. And I'm going to let you know, folks, on Calvary, when Christ gave of his blood, fulfilling that Passover lamb for atonement, he's seen this day. He's seen us right now, looking to him for refuge and protection. He knew this day would come. And his blood covers us. He knew we would sin. He knew we would fornicate. He knew the things we were doing in darkness. He knew we were liars. He knew we were cheaters. Because why? We were born in sin, following the course of the God of this world. He knew we would be born in sin. He says, you know what? But my blood will cover all of that until they come to full discernment, to understand both good and evil. I will give them grace for a time to know me, and place that blood on the doorpost of their heart, like Moses placed that blood on his doorpost while what? The death angel passed over. And it's no time to try to force people to believe. Nah, if you don't believe, it's okay. If you're an atheist, if you're a Muslim, whatever you are, it's okay. The time of sacrifice is at hand. And you're going to find that the God you serve, you've always served, requires your soul. Requires your soul. Read on.
Verse 8. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven.
Now when it says keep the feast, this is after Christ's death and resurrection. Proving what? That the early church kept the feast of Passover. That the Passover wasn't done away with like the Christian churches are claiming. Paul was saying, keep the feast. Keep the feast. Read.
Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven.
Not with old leaven.
Neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness.
Not with the leaven of what?
Malice and wickedness.
Malice and wickedness. Not with the leaven of malice and wickedness, folks. Who we used to be, that old leaven. That's why Paul was making this statement during the Passover. Keep the feast, but not with malice and wickedness. Leave your carnality back there and move forward in the spirit of our Savior. Read.
But with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
With sincerity and be truthful now. Be truthful. Because what? Christ has given all of us now, every last person, an opportunity here. I'm going to show you what's going on, folks, and what's about to happen. I'm going to show you. I have some videos lined up for you. Man, it's going to blow you away what they're planning, what they're doing while you're in your homes quarantined. What they're doing. I have it all here for you. But above all, I have the prophecies concerning the time, which is leading to the mark of the beast. And go into the seals that they've been actually operating under, folks, for a long time. These seals, these 7 seals didn't just start in chronological order. These 7 seals have been operating since our fall in 70 AD. I'm going to go into some of the seals today. I'm going to go into some of these prophecies to give you the biblical perspective of what's really going on. Get your pen and pad ready. Get your pen and pad ready. And listen, if you're not in the academy, hey, all I have to tell you is that, listen, when this ends, this rolls right over tomorrow. Because there's no way I can disconnect myself from what's going on in here. And each day we're dropping something based on what's going on daily. Folks, this thing is fluid. So there's no way I'm going to jump into the academy and be like, okay, it's a regular old academy. It won't be. So we're going to flow right from here after the Feast of Unleavened Bread into the academy tomorrow. With the news and what's going on, real-time reports, I'm going to bring some of that today. But hey, if you're not in the academy, you're going to miss the continuation. You just pick it up with us Wednesday. Okay, and that's fine because there's going to be some stuff flowing Wednesday. But you don't want to miss tomorrow. Okay? Finish reading.
Verse number 9. I wrote unto you an epistle not to keep company with fornicators. Yet not...
Read it again.
I wrote unto you an epistle not to keep company with fornicators.
Now, why is Paul writing this during the time of the Passover feast? That I told you not to keep company with fornicators. Because fornicators, folks, houses Satan's demons. The demons Satan's control are actually within the fornicators of this world. They're his host. They are his agents. See, and this is why legislation have been dealing with this liberal movement, feminist movement, okay, with this this letters people's movement, because these are the cases or temples of Satan. So they wanted to acclimate the regular people who always knew there was something wrong there into the spirit of tolerance. Tolerance means you can now allow them entry into you. See? That's what it was all about. So there was rules in the church that you are not to sit or be amongst fornicators, because whatever spirit they've taken on out in the world, they're bringing amongst believers. And through that mindset, their mindset become reprobate. Why? Because sometimes these people feel spiritual, normal, and it's all, it seems as if they're going in the right direction. And through that, the righteous always seem to say, well, you know what? I think they're coming around. Without guarding, or at least taking full board, giving a perspective of what you're really seeing and saying, well, hold up. Today you're like this, but tomorrow you're back into that same sin. See? So they're able to morph like chameleons and seem righteous around the righteous. But really, they're the alphabet people. They're the people that's whoremongering, the people that are sleeping around, the people that are doing all these things, and now they're looking to have access to your children. They're just seeking an opportunity. So they know what you allow and not allow, and they become chameleons with that reprobate mind and wait for opportunity to get to your children. See? That's what it's about. It wasn't enough that they could marry. They wanted to progress legislation to teach your children to desire that particular lifestyle. Check it out, folks, because this is how Satan get bodies. This is how demons get hosts, through fornication and sin. So the satanic political structure began to push that. Notice, they pushed that before they began to push Corona, because they needed souls. They needed people for these spirits that were let loose, according to the book of Revelation. And once they're in, the person is struggling with that demon they let in. But these demons they're letting in now aren't like, I'm going to tell you, these are deep demons. These are deeply seated demons that were bound for a long time. So once these spirits get in you, Satan was like, well, okay, they're battling that spirit. Let's take that soul. It's time to start killing them now. So it links in. You fast. Part of fasting is what? No leaven. 7 days. And a reminder of self-examination, cleaning your soul of all the old sin that once beset us. Going forward, and even if we struggled with fornication before, we lay it down going forward. Now the demon has no substance to feed on, and it must choose another. See, and that's what you want. Of course, no one wants anyone to just fall by demons, but you want them to choose someone in sin. You don't want them to say, you know what? I'm home. I'm comfortable right here. And guess what? There's so many others for them to choose from. If you begin to fast the demon out by saying, you know what? I'm not going to do this for a month. I'm not going to do this for a month. I'm not going to do that for a month. And find yourself sinning less. These spirits will find other hosts. See, that's how you take away the leaven. It's your actions in the flesh that becomes the leaven that leads to hell. Listen to what I'm teaching you today. Look at what I'm showing you today. This is, let me tell you, you can't get this on some regular Christian program. This is spiritual warfare here. This is what the disciples were teaching. This is how Paul was teaching. Like the Passover is not just a celebration where we just all celebrate and the music is going and that's all beautiful. But what good is it if we're still the same man we were the day before Passover? If we're still the same woman we were the day before Passover, what good is it? Check it out now. We're going in now. Read on.
I wrote unto you, verse 9, I wrote unto you in an epistle not to keep company with fornicators, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world.
With the fornicators of this world. Because there's supposed to be a separation between church and state, but it seems as if the state is imposing people's sexual lifestyles on families and children. Those who don't believe in that type of activity. You notice that? Read that last piece again.
I wrote unto you in an epistle not to keep company with fornicators, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world.
Of this world who say live and let live. What type of garbage is that? A community is as strong as its weakest link. If you have a community filled with fornicators, drug dealers, killers, people that deal with perversions, molestation, liars, killers, con men. A community is only as strong as its weakest link. Read.
Yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or with idolaters, for then must ye needs go out of the world.
You can go out in the world for that. So we can't be keeping company with these demons, folks. With these demons. I'm going to tell you right now, you can't keep company with them because they're looking for what? They're looking for a place in you. Now that the Most High has given us this Feast of Unleavened Bread and we went all week, quarantine, some of us didn't have access to sin like we would normally have access to. But some of us use this full opportunity being quarantined in to do what? To accelerate the sin. I'm home alone and I'm here. They took an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm about to top this off. Sin on top of sin. Come on.
Verse 11. But now I have written unto you not to keep company if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator.
Be a fornicator. Don't keep company with brothers. When someone say, well, I'm still struggling with something. Well, how long are you going to struggle with that? Beyond today. I don't understand what you're saying. You're struggling with something. You're a grown man, you're a grown woman, and you can make grown, righteous choices. I don't hear about you struggling with something. Oh, God ain't finished with me yet. No, you finished with the Most High. I hear some of these excuses. They seem philosophically genius how they put these words together. God ain't finished with me yet. I know I'm not perfect, but why aren't you trying to be perfect? What's wrong with perfection, which is God's law? It's just some things I can't put down. What are they telling you? You have to read between the lines. What they're telling you is, I'm possessed with demons. I'm possessed with demons. God loved the sinner but hate the sin. No, God hate the sinner and God hates sin. See? Read.
But now I have written unto you to keep company, or not to keep company, if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator.
If any man that's a brother be called what?
A fornicator.
A fornicator.
Or covetous.
Or covetous. Now, this is a brother or sister who's always looking to get what someone else has. Covetousness. Wanton eyes. Not satisfied with what the Most High blessed you with. Always concerned with what someone else has. That's covetousness. Okay? And guess what? That was the spirit of Judas too. What is he going to do with that oil? We could give it to the poor. Speaking of Christ, try to make it if Christ was doing something incorrect with the oil. When the Most High had this oil in the earth, preparing our Lord and Savior for his death, this covetous thief could only see what he wanted with this oil to fulfill his own fleshly lusts. So he should give it to the poor. And that's how they come. They'll come as if they're concerned about someone else. Man, we should give that to the homeless people, man. That's how I do it. We should do it. I was thinking about doing it. No, you want it for yourself, greedy. Stop lying to yourself and trying to seem over-righteous. Mm-hmm. See, this is how you can easily point out a coveter. They're always pointing to what someone else is doing and trying to claim it's wrong. And when you look at their lives, they're doing absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. They don't bring anything to the table at all but complaint and covetousness spirits. That's it. But like, man, with all this knowledge you have, being the Israelite verifier, your work should be manifold. Being the Christ verifier, man. Hey, if you can critique everything you see, you must have great works. That's a covetous. That's a covetous spirit. And he's rotten to the core. Okay? That's covetousness. These are people that always looking for the spirit of heresy or divide. They don't know how to build nothing or sustain anything. Because why? That was the life that person actually began to live. Sold under sin. And they become just angry at the world. Let's finish reading. Come on.
Yes, sir. Or covetous, or an idolater, or a railer.
Or a railer. And see, I got to watch this. Everyone have to watch. A railer is someone that at any time, what they do is rail on people. We all got to watch that. At any time we can rail. I'm the man. I'm the woman. I'm the man. A railer. No, it's easier to get things accomplished. It's better. And there's old wisdom sayings, even from the South. You can attract more bees with honey. You can't rail and force your way and force your will on others. Suppose someone don't agree with you. You can't become a ruler and force someone to see what you see. No, it's okay. So the Bible tells us that we have to put that leaven out of us. Okay? To not rail because someone don't see things how you're seeing it. Well, no. It's okay. Most I got you seeing it your way, that's fine. You're not going to force me to see what you're seeing. And vice versa. And see, that comes with wisdom and time and patience. And that's usually the patience of the elderly, those that have aged and who have lived through things. And it's a shame they're trying to put the elderly down right now, because the elderly hear all types of madness from their children and grandchildren, but still love them and have patience to get to them, to heal them. And they trying to take that away. You have to watch how the elderly just sit there and still look through all your nonsense and find a place to care for you. That's wisdom. That you can only, because why? As you get older, you have to choose your battles, because each battle takes away days off your life.
That's right.
And you have more life behind you than in front of you. So the elderly choose their battles, intelligently, carefully. Come on.
Or a drunkard, or an extortioner.
Or a drunkard. Every time you see someone, they have malt liquor in their hands. So when I see that someone got steel bullet, and I know what's in there, their brains are cooked, and they try to give advice every time they staggering all over the place, and now they want to become spiritual and give advice. A drunkard. Every time you look, he got a 40. I'm waiting for cats to come out and have a full keg on their back of Colt 45 with a backpack. That's going to be the next phase. I went all over the earth and I've been everywhere. And there's no other place they sell 45s, Colt 45 and malt liquor, but amongst us in these cities. Steel Magnum. And now they staggering all over the place and want to get spiritual. They're like, yeah. Let me tell you something, man. I've been watching your videos, man. Sitting there, his hand is one, with the 8-ball. Colt 45 or all this other crap. And sometimes, it's like, listen, I be telling brothers, I'm like, listen, man, sober up. Why you want to get spiritual and have a spiritual conversation, slurring your words and can't even stand up? Call me once you sober up, dude. And here it is, you get spiritual now that you can't put two words together. Drunkards. We have to put down that old leaven. And that's a lot of stuff we cleared up when we came back from the United States.
From overseas.
Huh?
When we came back from overseas.
We came back from overseas and came back from overseas into the United States. Thank you, other lawyer. Yes, we had to clear up a lot of these different buildings and all that where cats just made themselves into some type of position. After class, you have some cats sitting around, and here it is. You got young brothers there, and someone sitting there with cognac and another with wine and all that. What type of example are you going to show for brothers like that? After the service is done, the people leave, and you having a slush party. We cleared all that crap up, folks, because we found out that a lot of these other groups, when we came to the States, have infiltrated into the areas that we had churches set up, and we're still dealing with that spirit. Man, let me tell you, we cleaned it all out. We cleaned it all out in those areas. These cats, if they teaching, couldn't get two people amongst them. But they were using the Gathering of Christ Church, having gatherings and saying they were the Gathering of Christ Church. Once we came back and we heard what was going on in certain places, we cleaned shop. How can you, after the service, have a party?
Right.
Wine and this, that. We came back to States, so y'all doing what? And I was just looking at the elder lawyer. I'm like, well, okay. It's only a matter of time. It's fine. It's just a matter of time. Don't worry about it. Okay. Shalom, brother. How you doing? Yeah, we heard you. Yeah, don't worry about it. We putting some more rules in place. The rules were put in place, but guess what? Guess who was replaced? Because they couldn't stand with the rules. Okay? From one Passover to the next, the Most High has been purging this church. I'm going to show you where we're going. Hold tight. And I'm going to tell you, and see, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you right out. When we came to the States, a lot of these churches, which is, I don't know, some of them were standing strong, but the majority of them, they were running their own thing, but we cleared it all out. And see, and that's one thing that's good about that, because, and I'm not ashamed to say it, because Paul was writing about what the churches were doing in the epistles and correcting them.
That's right.
What's a shame in these Christian churches right now, they try to hide their dirt, and you never hear them talk about it as if it doesn't exist. They're not having some type of cleansing period from one Passover to the next to make sure that the church is better than it was a year beforehand. They don't have benchmarks and say, well, next Passover, as we go near to Christ's kingdom, each Passover, the church must be purged and be a better church for it. They're not doing that from year to year. Okay? They're not doing that. So listen, just let me tell you, when you read these epistles, let me tell you, these were straight correction for the churches, folks. If you're under grace to do certain things, just say if you wanted to have a drink or whatever the case is, you got to do that in the privacy of your home. You can't be before the congregation and now thinking this is the barbecue. The grace is for you if you're utilizing it. And you still have to watch yourself under grace. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Or an extortioner.
Or what?
Or an extortioner.
Or an extortioner. Folks, man, let me tell you. When I came back and started getting these churches together here, we had cats extortioning people and all that. And let me tell you, it was crazy. I'm like, how did these guys get amongst us? They're gone. They're gone. May the Most High be with them. We'll see them later. Okay. Read.
With such a one, not to eat.
It says, in such a one, not to eat. And let me tell you, folks, that's why you have to be careful about who you communicate with online, folks, who claim that they're with our church. I've had different reports. I've had reports where someone told me that they linked up with someone who they thought was in our church. And this person had nothing to do with us, folks. End up getting this person's personal information and everything. I'm talking about card information and all that. And I'm like, sis, I've been telling people I've been telling people for the longest that this online thing can get very sketchy. And let me tell you, you have to verify with us before you put yourself out there like that. People will say they GOCC and all that and come in and steal from people and extort people. Okay, that's what's out there. So you have to verify before you put yourself out there, because why? You have to realize, folks, brothers and sisters are charitable, but they're also impressionable. And to some degree, when you believe in this Bible, there's some level of naivety that can come with it also. So before you start dropping things with other people and all that, you need to verify that. You need to verify it. Be like, well, listen, I'm not going to get caught up in my feelings right now, with this person saying they GOCC and all that. Let me verify who this person is. Let's get it. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 12, for what have I to do to judge them also that are without? Do not ye judge them that are within?
Come on. It says you judge them that is within. Because why? From one Passover to the next, which is a sign between us and Christ, us and the Most High, the church must be purged. Okay? We must have a better, more righteous body from one year to the next. Read.
Verse 13, but them that are without, God judgeth. Therefore put away from among yourselves that wicked person.
Read on.
That's it on that.
Now, what I'm going into today, folks, and I need y'all to check it out. I'm going to show you where this is going with the precepts. With the precepts, folks. The end of the feast, a lesson of prophetic engineered plagues leading to the mark. Now, I wanted to have that message to the church first throughout the church, knowing that our church in other areas where they can't gather are here within this particular class. So that's a message that goes out to the whole church. Okay. Now I'm going to let everyone know, including the church, what's going on. Now, if you want to know what's going to happen within the United States, real quick before I go into the Bible, speaking of a prophecy of one of the plagues called wormwood. Wormwood in Revelation. I'm going to show you how that applies to the plagues and why Trump and others are bringing forth certain emergencies and what their true objectives are. Congress.gov, HR 748 CARES Act. This act went into play the second session. Let's get a date on this. One moment. Let's get a date on this. To amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to repeal the excise tax on high-cost employer-sponsored health coverage, right? Check out this bill and what's in it. The latest action March 27th, but it so happened that this particular thing went into session in January, the beginning of January. I'm going to show you. HR 748. It says right here, on the third day of January 2020. On the third day of January 2020, an act based on the coronavirus. Look at all these bills or sections and articles they have in place that was well before the virus began, brothers and sisters. Paycheck Protection Program, Entrepreneurial Development, State Trade Expansion Program, Waiver of Matching Funds Requirement under the Women Business Center Program, Loan Forgiveness for those who can't pay their rent during quarantine, Direct Appropriation, Minority Business Development Agency, United States Treasury Program Management Authority, Emergency EIDL Grants, Resources and Services in Languages other than English, Subsidy for certain loan payments because of school, right? You can't work. Loans, bankruptcy, Emergency Rulemaking Authority. Now check this out. Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. Pandemic. Let me go to Pandemic Unemployment Assistance real quick. This was January. Section 2102, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. COVID-19, the term COVID-19 means the 2019 novel coronavirus or 2019 nCoV. This is from the government's site. COVID-19 public emergency, covered individual. On and on and on. They had this thing, all the bills already drafted for this before the pandemic was announced. more. Pandemic unemployment assistance, emergency unemployment relief for government entities and nonprofit organizations. Look at all these sections and articles already drafted into law before the so-called coronavirus pandemic. Look at this. So did they just come up with this? So that proves that your news and your politicians are reading from a script. Look how big this article is. I'm still scrolling. Look at this. Look at this. I haven't even touched the bottom of it. This would take years to draft, brothers and sisters. Assistance for workers, families, and businesses. They had the whole government retool drafted into law early January. Early January. Before there was any such thing as any. This is the operation, folks. Matter of fact, let me put the link. Let me give you all the link, if I may. One moment. Let me give you the link real quick. I'm going to put the link inside your, hold on. I'm going to put the link inside, brothers and sisters. I'm going to put the link inside. Hey. I thank those that are sending me this stuff. I'm using it. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, hey, and when I get it, I show it. It's shown here. We have to wake our people up, man. Here it is right here. I'll put the link, brothers and sisters. I'll place the link for you in your chat. Okay? Hold on. Let me get it. Copy. Okay, I'm going to put it in here for you, brothers and sisters, real quick. So you'll have it. Here's the bill right here. I just put it in there, congress.gov. That's the bill. I'm going to put the link in there for you again to let you know that they're just reading from a script right now on your news and all that. This is an operation. It has nothing to do with a pandemic. It's an operation. Okay? And on and on and on. HR 748, the HR 748 CARES Act. See that? You all see that? Hope you all see that now. This is a sister here in England. They can't stop this. Because why? This is someone's regular, elder lawyer, this is someone's regular content that they recorded from their cell phone. Right? So they can't take this away. One moment here. Let me make it nice and big. I just wanted to highlight for you all, brothers and sisters. I needed to highlight the fact that they're using these hazmat suits so that these people can hide their identity and what their true objectives are. Here's a sister in the UK who recorded someone who began to put messages on people's doors claiming that the whole apartment building was quarantined. But that's not enough. They took a homeless person away. Now, we all have these people in our neighborhood who come over and eat dinner with us during holidays and all that we know is close to someone in the family who may be homeless, have no place to stay. This is a person that usually go and sleep on other people's couches and all that. We all know that because we've been operating tribal since coming off the slave ships. So we all know a person who our family knew, who's just a family friend who sometimes hit the couch. Well, they took this guy away and they put a notice on the door that he was dead already. And because he was seen in the building, the whole building is at threat. But guess what? And people talking about, well, I don't like sisters' mouths and all that. This is when a sister's mouth benefited things. Because there was no one standing up for this homeless guy who the government was going to take and kill and claim he died under the coronavirus. Check this sister out. Check it out now. Right? Listen to this. Check this out, lawyer. You're not going to believe this. Let me find that video. Here it is. Check it out, brothers and sisters.
When were you told a fatality happened? Because the man that was the homeless man that we are told that just died, we've just seen the police take him away to the hospital. I'm filming this now.
She said the homeless guy you just taken away. Listen to this. That you just said died was just taken away by the police a few minutes ago. So how can you have on a sheet of paper the quarantine the building that this particular person is dead when we just seen you take him away? They already had this guy's information on some type of bulletin, placing it on all the doors in the apartments, brothers and sisters. And the sister was like, how can you say this? We just seen the guy. We know the guy. Let me play it out.
So when were you told a fatality happened? Because the man that was the homeless man that we are told that just died, we've just seen the police take him away to the hospital. I'm filming this now. The police would you're in your communal area, my building. And you're lying to us, spreading fear, telling us that this man died. And he's just been down there and saw that he is not dead. He has just been taken to the hospital by the police. He spoke to both the police and the homeless man. That man was a bit drunk. He asked him if he was okay and he was fine. This was 5 to 10 minutes ago. And now you're coming up here, spreading lies and fear and telling me this man is dead and he is not dead. This man is not dead. Take them letters, take them somewhere else because that man is not dead. I've been feeding that man.
Wait.
He's lying.
We can stop putting letters on because he's not dead.
Until you find out if this man's really dead and prove that, then you need to stop putting these letters on there.
Can I ask you to stop filming?
Can I ask your name?
I'm from One Housing.
You're from One Housing. Can I ask your name? When they put a letter under your door saying the man's dead, he's not dead, he's fine. The man is absolutely fine. The man's fine. He's putting letters under our door saying the man's dead. The man's not dead. He just saw him 5 minutes ago being taken by the police. Now, these are coming here in their little suits telling us this man's dead, and this man is not dead. We have just seen the police take him to the hospital 5 minutes ago. You are liars. You are spreading fear for no reason. No one died in this building today. Nobody died.
Can you let us respond?
Yeah, I have let you respond and you've stood there and lied. You have?
Can you stop filming?
Okay, no. You're in my building outside my door causing fear amongst my community. Okay, go on. So show me who died.
Okay.
It's legal. I'm legally allowed to.
Speak, please.
Go for it. Go on. I did.
No, you didn't. Can you stop filming as well?
No, go on.
Right,
Can you stop filming?
I can film. Go on. I'd like the answer.
We're
responding based on what a report we had earlier.
What time did you get this report? Can I just ask?
About a couple of hours ago.
A couple of hours ago, but we've literally saw this man taken away 10 minutes ago, healthy.
That's fine. Now that you've told us that, we will go on to...
Can I ask who gave you the report that this man was dead?
It's fed from One Housing.
From One Housing. One Housing told you that this man was dead, so you came round in your suits to spread fear amongst... Look at them, children in there. And you're spreading fear amongst all of us.
Now,
so when are you
I'm going to play it over again, brothers and sisters, but if there was a real scare of the virus, would these guys, would they have taken their mask off, brothers and sisters?
Right.
If they knew that there was a real scare and there was a disease in this building, would they have taken their masks off? Mm-hmm. They took a homeless guy who always frequents this building. He's a guy that drinks a lot, but the neighbors know him. They give him food sometimes. They took this guy and already reported him dead under corona. He was drunk and they taken him. And guess what? May the Most High have mercy on him, because this is what they're going to do to us. This is what they're doing to us. They're going to take the drunk, people that are on drugs, people that are on the street, and they're going to add these people to the corona numbers. This is euthanization. This is putting people down, killing people under the guise of COVID-19. Let's play it again.
told a fatality happened because the man that was the homeless man that we are told that just died, we've just seen the police take him away to the hospital. I'm filming this now. The police were just, you're in your communal area, my building, and you're lying to us, spreading fear, telling us that this man died, and he's just been down there and saw that he is not dead. He has just been taken to the hospital by the police. He spoke to both the police and the homeless man. That man was a bit drunk. He asked him if he was okay, and he was fine. This was 5 to 10 minutes ago, and now you're coming up here spreading lies and fear and telling me this man is dead, and he is not dead. This man is not dead. Take them letters, take them somewhere else, because that man is not dead. I've been feeding that man.
Wait.
He's lying.
We can stop putting letters on because he's not dead.
Until you find out if this man's really dead and prove that, then you need to stop putting these letters on there.
Can I ask you to stop filming?
Can I ask your name?
I'm from One Housing.
You're from One Housing. Can I ask your name? When they put a letter under your door saying the man's dead, he's not dead, he's fine. The man is absolutely fine. The man's fine. He's putting letters under our door saying the man's dead. The man's not dead. He just saw him 5 minutes ago being taken by the police. Now, these are coming here in their little suits telling us this man's dead, and this man is not dead. We have just seen the police take him to the hospital 5 minutes ago. You are liars. You are spreading fear for no reason. No one died in this building today. Nobody died.
Can you let us respond?
Yeah, I have let you respond, and you've stood there and lied. You have.
Can you stop filming?
Okay, no. You're in my building outside my door causing fear amongst my community. Okay, go on. So show me who died.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's legal. I'm legally allowed to.
Look at his mask off.
Go for it. Go on. I did.
No, you didn't. Can you stop filming as well?
No, go on.
Right, in that case, no. I thought
I can film. Go on. I'd like the answer.
We're responding based on what report we had earlier.
What time did you get this report? Can I just ask?
about a couple of hours ago.
A couple of hours ago, but we've literally saw this man taken away 10 minutes ago, healthy.
That's fine. Now that you've told us that, we will go on.
Can I ask who gave you the report that this man was dead?
It's fed from One Housing.
From One Housing. One Housing told you that this man was dead, so you came round in your suits to spread fear amongst. Look at them, children in there, and you're spreading fear amongst all of us.
Oh, now hold up. You think that's something? Check this out. Check this out, folks. Here's another one. One moment. Let me get it. One second. This is a guy recording outside of his home. He have private cameras outside of his home. And while the city was telling him to stay in the home quarantine, this is what they were doing outside of his home. Listen.
To your attention, guys, there's people walking around in the middle of the night.
Hold up. Listen to this.
Walking into people's driveways.
Listen.
Just bringing to your attention, guys, there's people walking around in the middle of the night, walking into people's driveways and touching the door handles of cars. As you can see, that guy there just gone into the neighbour's driveway, and now you can see him coming towards my driveway, touching his mouth and then touching the door handle.
He's touching his mouth.
Doesn't really look like he's actually trying to open it, but just touching it.
And touching the door handle. So while you're quarantined, there's an operation going on to spread the pandemic. They have their own mercenaries going house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, spreading the germs on private property.
Bringing to your attention, guys, there's people walking around in the middle of the night, walking into people's driveways and touching the door handles of cars. As you can see, that guy there just gone into the neighbour's driveway, and now you can see him coming towards my driveway, touching his mouth and then touching the door handle. Doesn't really look like he's actually trying to open it, but just touching it. You see at the top of the picture there is the other guy walking down the road as well. There is another angle which I'm going to provide.
There's another angle which he will provide, right? Now, if this was a real pandemic, Elder Lawyer, right? If this was a real pandemic, would they have to do things like this?
Right.
So while we're quarantined and scared in our homes, what are they doing on the outside? What are they doing on the outside of our houses? They're adding to the pandemic. They're creating the pandemic by paid mercenaries who are paid to go out and spread COVID-19. Who knows? He's spitting on stuff. He probably have a cold or something, whatever the case is.
Right. Those symptoms will register.
Exactly.
So-called COVID-19 symptoms.
Exactly. COVID-19. And see, we put it out there, brothers and sisters. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because we only have so much time in a day, and I have to go into these scriptures real quick. There's a lot of things we have strictly. We probably have to spend at least an hour on this tomorrow. I have so much different footage and different perspectives on how we're going to bring this together for the news tomorrow. So if you want to see the rest of some of the clips I have, come to the Academy tomorrow. But I'm going to tell you right now, folks, this is an operation that has been in place for a long time. Remember, for years, we were talking about chemtrails and how they were using chemtrails to break us down, to break down our immune system by putting metals into the chemtrails, breaking up the clouds, and it was coming down, having us, with metals. If you breathe in metals, it breaks down your immune system. Okay? Remember we was talking about that. Well, also, part of that, when they put metals in the air, is so that we can have metals within our particular temple. Right. And these metals connects with what you would call the AI virtual world, with these frequencies that'll make it where you can't think straight, you can't concentrate, giving the whole earth ADHD. And that's why metal having what you would call where you're taking the toxins out of you with the metal cleansing is necessary. But I digress, right? You can detox, do a metal detox to get these metals out of you. But we'll talk about that at a later date. But all in all, it was for a more nefarious purpose. Because they get the metals in you through vaccines, through poison in the air and poison in the water. Now when the 5G come on the scene, it'll totally affect the metals that are within your body. And these metals would begin to do what? Cause your cells to explode through 5G. Once your cells explode, even though you're not contagious, you'll begin to exhibit cold and flu type symptoms. Cold and flu type symptoms. Now, you're not contagious, but it's your cells exploding. Now that your body has been really poisoned through metals. So what happens when 5G begins to heat up the mercury in you, heat up the aluminum in you? Your cells begin to explode and you begin to excrete fluids. This is their plan, folks, so that everyone can exhibit flu-like symptoms, even those without flu. Let's go into the Bible real quick now.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you, folks, y'all need to look around and see if there's 5G in your current living proximity. See if it's on the side of your building, how close it is. Get as far away from it as possible. Even if you have to visit other families, until you come up with an alternative place to live. Okay? I really appreciate it. What's that, T? I really appreciate it. Look in your surroundings, on your buildings or whatever, and see if there's 5G. Now, tomorrow in the class, now what you can do is go to Google and type in 5G towers or 5G connected to buildings so that you can know what it looks like. If these things are around you, get away from them. Get away from them. Now, They're only going to cause minimal harm because, like I said earlier, I'm going into the spiritual aspect and the physical aspect today. But they're going to do something even more heinous to those who receive the mark of the beast. This 5G is going to burn right through them, and to a point where there will be a grievous sore that John seen on the Isle of Patmos. Those that have the mark of the beast in them, you're going to know it because 5G is going to burn to a degree in which wherever the RFID went into, you're going to see a sore there. This is the way the believers will know who exactly got chipped, because you're going to have a lot of people around us who are chipped and will never tell you. Listen to where we're going at here, because this is real time. It's live now. Elder Lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Ephesians 6 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Ephesians 6 and Ephesians 2.
And on that point, I think Elder God just sent me in a video of, you're probably going to this on the Academy tomorrow.
But what is it?
Look at Hong Kong tearing down 5G. So people tearing down 5G in Hong Kong.
You have people in Hong Kong right now ripping 5G off of their buildings. Right? And it's deep that he just sent me this. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know this was going on right now. Right now in Hong Kong, they ripping all 5G contraptions off of their buildings and they're taking down the towers in Tokyo. But that's not being reported here in America, is it? Because the PSYOP was to begin in China, but to really use this to take down America. Folks. Now, I don't know what they're dealing with in the world looking at that news. But brothers, what you're getting, and sisters, what you're getting right now is real-time news. And that's why I'm looking at earlier where it says, heads up. We've detected copyright audio and video in your stream. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. Well, we don't, no, it won't, because when this video goes down, we're taking that out. Okay? They don't want you seeing real news. And if they think this is something, the real news that can't be censored will be on Ustream through our academy tomorrow. So they can't censor that. I'm not going to be getting warnings and all that crap tomorrow. Okay? Let's read, Elder Lawyer. Ephesians 6 and 12. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Ephesians chapter 6, verse number 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
This is not a physical battle. We wrestle not with flesh and blood,
but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Guess what, folks? This is a war against Satanists, demons. The politicians are nothing more than ministers who are carrying out Satan's program. This is bigger than Donald Trump, folks. It was bigger than Barack Obama. It was bigger than any other president, any prime minister, any world leader. Because that whole apparatus or fraternity is a fraternity of Satanists. This is not man's program they're initiating. We're going to show you whose program this is. So you have to understand first and foremost that this battle is deeper than what we see. People ask, who would be so wicked to spread these germs all over the place, set up laboratories to create such evils and diseases? Man wouldn't think of destroying themselves like this. And you're absolutely right. This is a spiritual warfare. This is demonic, satanic warfare against God's image, man and woman. So you have to look beyond Donald Trump and others like that. They want you to look at it, view it strictly on that level. Okay? Read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Come on.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places. Higher than Capitol Hill, higher than the White House, higher than the Queen of England, higher than the Pope and the Vatican. It's who they serve. There was a plan a long time ago to come against our God and the people who serves that God. That's the war. That's the real war. Read.
Verse 13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God.
See how the Most High can guide us out if we receive that spirit? We must now take on the full armor of the Almighty right now. We must arm ourselves, but not with flesh and blood, not with carnal weaponry, because because the warfare that we are waging isn't carnal. Okay, a fleshly world, a carnal will believe that they can fight fire with fire, carnality against carnality. But no, Christ gave us greater weapons. Listen to this.
Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day.
Come on.
And having done
now
all,
we're in the evil day, read.
And having done all to stand.
And having done all to stand. Read.
So showing you there's something we must do. We can't sit back, God gonna take care of it and all these other. There's something we must do, something we must action in this warfare in order for God to send forth that protection.
Exactly. Read on.
Verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
So first of all, we have to have truth, and like we was mentioning with the unleavened, we must protect ourselves with righteousness. If you were doing something that you know was wrong against God's law, stop it. Because you will become that sacrifice that Satan will actually destroy through this. You will get sacrificed in this. So now we must put down sin. What's next?
It says here, having your loins girt about with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness, verse 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
With the gospel of peace. Folks, you see how we told y'all years ago that the ministry was greater than just saying or claiming you were an Israelite? You have to be able to bring this information, the gospel of peace, to all people, regardless of their imposition against you, regardless of their conspiracies against you, regardless of how they think against you. Christ said, listen, if your enemy curse you, you counterwise with what? A blessing. See, this gives us access to safety.
Right.
In our behavior, in how we hold the word, how we hold the gospel of truth. We told people years ago how to deal with Christ's words. You don't need to bring your personal feelings into the ministry on how you feel about particular people. You must, in order to be protected in this day, you must stand with the gospel of peace. And as much life within you, like the Bible says, be at peace with all men. You can't be out there cursing people out and going against government and doing all those things. You will be sacrificed. The devil is playing into it because only the devil would have a ministry like that. Christ never had a ministry such as what we see. With the example of some people that are holding the Bible, cursing women out, cursing people out, cursing other nations out. You've never seen that activity under Christ. They'll misuse Christ's precepts and say, well, he was an austere man. Right. But Christ was a respectful man.
Right.
He was a humble man. He was a man that walked with wisdom. He was a man that stood before Pontius, a white man, who almost compelled that white man to become Christian.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So a lot of you go online and you and in respect of the courage or the courageous spirit you see with brothers talking to the white man as such, you begin to mimic that, not realizing that it's stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize it's stupidity. To you, it's courage. We standing up. Nah, you're not being wise. How do you stand up against any nation? With truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's how. Just teach the truth. You don't got to personally berate anyone. And you have younger brothers who see that and have some respect of someone finally standing up, not realizing that it's foolishness. Read that last piece again.
Yes, sir. Verse 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
The gospel of peace will be our protection. Read.
Verse number 16, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
So the shield of faith, you'll be able to quench all the fiery darts. So when you're hearing the news, these are fiery darts breaking down your faith, getting you scared. No, you take the shield of faith and say, listen, I'm getting through all this because I believe what the Most High said concerning that spirit that would hedge me in this time, that would protect my family in this time. So all these darts, Corona, COVID-19, quarantine, listen, I'm blocking all that out. That's my shield because they're trying to break our faith through these military operations. Okay? They're trying to break our faith. Now, let's go down to Ephesians. No, you have something else on that? Let's get the rest of it. Yeah, come on.
Verse 17, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
Which is what?
Which is the word of God.
Which is what?
Which is the word of God.
Which is the word of the Almighty. Read on.
Verse number 18.
Get that last piece again. Come on.
Sir. Verse number 17. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
The helmet of salvation. Now you're not letting what they're saying pierce your mind and change your mind and weaken your faith because you have what? The helmet of salvation. Christ will save me. I'm covered through his blood and sealed unto the day of redemption. And we're going to show you how to receive that helmet. That's why it's just popping right off my mind. Because listen, I'm not going to let them affect my mind with this sorcery and witchcraft they call television. If you believe any of it, you'll fall for all of it. You'll fall for all of it. Now, the things that will physically affect us, of course, what I'm going to do, I'm going to prepare for food. Of course, I'm going to store food and have food. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm going to do that because they're going to use food or the lack of bread as a weapon against the citizens who didn't prepare.
Right.
Okay? That's going to be a weapon. They know people are going to lose their mind after being socialized and or domesticated. They're going to know you're going to, where food at? Where food at? Food grows out of the ground. When everyone have a patch of dirt around them, they could have made their own cabbage or onions. Mm-hmm. That's where food comes from. Mm-hmm. Because people are domesticated, they're going to panic. So I'm not dealing with what they talking about. Listen, no, I'm preparing according to the Almighty and know that one day I'll walk away from what I've stored and go someplace else and store and prepare until Christ returns. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to be out there and be a part of their theater. I'm not going to be out there chasing food and all that and hungry so that they can now use those optics to now finance more of the UN military to come against us. You out there publicly with all saying, we need food. Man, Satan will eat it up. Oh, yeah, let's bring in the National Guard. Let's stomp them out. Let's kill them. More sacrifices. Come on.
Verse number 18. Praying always with prayer, or Salakia, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Come on. And supplication for all saints. Stay in prayer for us. We're in prayer for you. Before we began, we took this whole house and anointed everyone in this house. And at the end, we're going to say an anointment for not only this house, but all the houses to be hedged who's a part of the Gathering of Christ Church and even beyond. To even protect the brothers and sisters who hasn't run into the truth yet. Knowing that the devil is at the door, have them quarantined and looking to kill them and to destroy them. We ask the Most High, we're going to ask the Most High Spirit to cover those who haven't received the knowledge yet, to look over our families, to protect our children, to have us be that remnant that would make it through this. And use this, overcoming these plagues, overcoming Satan's imposition against us. Use this as an example of those who walk in faith, who would exalt God's name until the end. I don't just know we're going to make it through. Brothers and sisters, we will make it through if we put on this armor. Mm-hmm. and not get shook. They want you to get shook right now. Talking about corona. No, I'm talking about a higher. I'm talking about a higher. I'm talking about Yeshua. I'm talking about Christ's blood. I'm talking about deliverance. Okay? Read on.
Verse number 19. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel.
That it might be made known the mystery of the gospel. Read.
For which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
And we are ambassadors of the gospel. And we are ambassadors of the gospel. In bonds, which means what? That don't mean in captivity. That means this ministry in itself, we are a prisoner to.
Right.
We couldn't leave or stop this even if we wanted to. Because what? Are there any other options? Where are the other options? You keep that open, yeah. There is no options. So we're bonds to this ministry. We either do this or be in the world. And what's in the world? Foolishness, ignorance, stupidity. Confusion. Exactly. Confusion. Let's go to Ephesians 2:2, other lawyer.
Yes, sir. Ephesians chapter 2, verse number 2.
Come on.
Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world.
So in the times past, we walked after the course of this world. Now, by walking after the course of this world, folks, we're sold under sin. See? We didn't follow the laws of God. We followed the laws of what? Liberalism. Do as thou wilt. Not realizing it would come a time in which the Lord you serve or the God you serve would require a sacrifice. What is that? Your soul. Your liberty came with a price. Read.
Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air.
According to the prince of the power of the air. So what would the prince of the power of the air use? The frequency in the waves on the air. The frequency you can't see that connects to your televisions. The frequencies like HARP and CERN that control man-made clouds and all that. That would rain down wormwood on the world's citizens. Metals and toxins, they would begin to destroy the waters. And through that, it would lead to what? You got it. Sicknesses, flu-like symptoms. They would use the air. 5G. You can't see it, but it's doing what? It's causing cells to explode. Flu-like symptoms, making everyone what? A virus. Making every person on earth a virus. Because to Satan, mankind is the virus that he needs to stomp out or destroy. Because why? The Most High said, the image of God, know ye not that ye shall judge angels? We're his judge and he know it. So he would deem us the virus and try to stomp or kill us off before judgment. He that have an ear, let him hear. That's what's going on here. It's not the symptoms they're worried about. People already had colds and all that. They're going to use this as a veil or a cover to kill many people in their makeshift hospitals and institutions. Like that homeless guy they took away and said that he was dead already and began to quarantine a whole building saying that the disease is in that building. That's what it's about right now, folks. It's about putting people down under the cloud of COVID-19. The principalities, powers of the air. Let's go. Come on.
Yes, sir. according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh.
The spirit that now worketh where?
In the children of disobedience.
In the children of disobedience. So they're going to use the waves and all that to deal with the children of disobedience. The people who've always did what? Sin against the Most High. This is an amendment for the Most High and a judgment against the wicked. And he's allowing the wicked to execute it on earth. See that? So Satan can't do anything unless, even when he went before the Most High and said, well, listen, of course, Job is righteous. You've hedged him. You won't let me touch him. So Satan knows that he can't touch the elect unless it's allowed. Mm-hmm. So since the children of disobedience have bought in to all of these agendas, which have separated us from our God, begin to break up families, fornicate, sin, do whatever they want against the Most High during the same time of the Feast of Unleavened Bread where there's peace, where we're supposed to put out leaven, the Most High said, I'm going to give a space for my people. And those who want to still disobey, they belong to the principalities and the powers of the air. They want to continue to sin against me? Since you chose that God, check out what he has for you. COVID-19. Check out what he has for you. Now you're subjected to those frequencies without protection, without hedge. See? Read that last piece again. Come on.
Yes, sir. Ephesians 2, verse 2.
Come on.
Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air.
Come on.
The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
Of disobedience, read.
Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past.
So we walked like the children of disobedience in times past before the baptism, before the Most High began to give us the truth, before we became born again and began to walk in newness of life. Mm-hmm. We were just like that, on a trajectory directly to hell. Mm-hmm. Read.
Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh.
In the lust of our flesh, serving our own flesh. Do its thou will. Read.
Fulfilling the desires of the flesh.
Come on.
And of the mind.
And of the mind.
And were by nature the children of wrath, even as others.
And what happens? These people become the children of wrath. At the end of it, their souls will burn and be tormented in hell. The do as thou wilt generation. Generation X. Folks. Generation X, after the course of this world. And I said earlier, let me break down that spirit who's really over your politicians, so that you can't just go off every so often when you hear Donald Trump saying whatever he want to do. If you want to know what Donald Trump is going to do and what the government's going to do, look up the bill I just gave you. The bill has already been signed and enacted and put into action. So the only thing he's going to do is repeat a bill that none of our people know about. If you want to know, he's going to give Homeland Security full power. Wartime power is what's going to go on. That's what's going to happen. The earth will never be the same. What you're seeing is going to continue this way. In your stores, they're going to ease up a little bit during the times in which they would like you to serve Satan. Mm-hmm. But then they'll put it right back on after that. Mm-hmm. Understand what time we're living in, folks. This is the time in which the powers that be Rome will have 1 hour to rule with the beast, and which the only religion you're going to be able to really follow freely and have some liberty in is Satan's religions. That's the time we're coming into. It's going to come a time where what you see here before you will be non-existent. A matter of fact, us teaching the Bible will be against the law eventually. And what we're going to have to do with any resources we receive is to move that into tangible assets that can help our people from one city to the next, one country to the next. And have food and stuff waiting for our people under those instances. That's where it's going. That's where it's going. Because when the mark of the beast is on the scene, there'll be no new resources to get. Any resources we're going to get to prepare our people for whatever the Lord has prepared is what we get during the ministry. Anything else will be in bartering season after that. But us coming before you, talking to you, letting you know, folks, this is a luxury right now based on what we see happening. So any resources we get, guess what? I'm going to tell you, we're going to put it into planning with our brothers and sisters within the church and those who we can help. From one city to the next, one country to the next, for refuge, because our people will need it. When they implement this system in which they say, well, okay, money is a threat under COVID-19. No more exchanging money, but digital currency and exchange from now on. We're going to use as much as we can in the bank accounts if they allow it. But after that, if they say you have to go get a chip to use it, that's it. That's it. We're going to use as much as we can with our resources and parlay that into land, food, whatever the case we can do, understanding the times we're living in. And what's going to happen? A lot of our people, even those that claim they follow the Most High, will break under pressure because they're doing it now. They're going to look at it and say, well, listen, my Lord, my Jesus that loves me isn't going to allow me to suffer and get put out of my house like this. I'm going down there and I'm going to get the chip without anyone knowing so that I can keep some similitude of the American dream. That's what's going to happen. You got people secretly getting the chip without you knowing. I'm going to go into that.
And if you don't believe it, go back and watch the video years ago before leaving the States. We did Path to the Mark.
Yeah.
We went to a family's home and a sister boldly came out and stated.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah. Boldly came out and stated that my God, as she stated, my Lord will not allow me to suffer. If I need to get a chip to feed my children, I will get a chip.
Oh, you reminded me. Let me tell you, I've been doing this journey because I'm just looking forward. Sometimes I forget some of those things.
Yeah.
I remember she said, my baby don't have no Pampers and the Path to the Mark. Are you crazy? I'm not going to have my baby suffering. All I got to do is get a chip. Guess what? That mindset is the same mindset that's within the majority of people, especially our people who have already been socialized. I remember that now.
And I suggest, as we're speaking about this, go back and watch those videos, those street speakings we did before leaving the States, because everything that was coming out at that time is happening blow by blow as we speak.
Path to the Mark. I think it was in the D.C. area. A brother opened up his home and he wanted his whole family to see it. And I think his cousin came and said, well, listen, if my baby need Pampers, I'm going to get the mark of the beast. She ain't called it the mark of the beast. She said an RFID chip because my Jesus ain't going to allow my child to suffer. Folks, that's the whole neighborhood I grew up in. We've already been programmed through social programs, welfare and all that. And if all you have to do is go down and get something shot in you, you're used to getting shots anyway through vaccines and others. They're going to sell this as a means of convenience. You understand? And now you're free to operate freely in society. Why? You're not a threat passing dirty COVID-19 money. On top of that, they're not going to have you as a threat because in the chip, which is in your bloodstream, when you walk into any building, they'll know your temperature. They'll know whether or not you're sick. So automatically, you're going to be screened automatically, electronically. So let's go into that real quick, right? Hold that. Great points, Elder Lawyer. Let's go to Revelation 12 and 12 real quick. Revelations 12 and 12. And I want to hit real quick. I want to hit Wormwood. Let's go to Wormwood. And what was that? Revelation?
I believe it's 8. No.
Revelation 8, yeah. Yeah, Wormwood, Revelation 8. Hold that. All right?
Oh, you want 12 first?
Yeah, let's get 12 first. 12 and 12, please.
Revelation chapter 12, verse number 12. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
See that? So now it's telling us that upon Christ's death and resurrection, the angels in heaven, brothers and sisters, began to rejoice. Why? Because at that time, after Christ shed his blood on the heavenly tables, Satan had no more entry into the heavenly council to accuse brethren like he once did in the Old Testament. Right? So the angels begin to rejoice after Christ's death and resurrection. Read.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
But woe to the inhabitants of the earth. It's speaking of us in the earth. Specifically, chiefly, God's people who have built all empires. Because don't forget, Christ is speaking to the disciples here. These are Israelites. Read.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
And of the sea. It's speaking of sea creatures. Why?
For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time.
So the devil have come down, having great wrath, knowing that he has a short time. See? So we know that as a consequence of Satan not having entry into the heavenly council amongst whom the world call the gods, he will now plan to use the earth to get back out beyond the firmament. But he would have, and in the midst of that, he would, even by his contractions of digging the earth for oil and digging it for all types of resources to get off the earth, it would begin to poison the earth itself and all the inhabitants in it. So in every empire, he would set up, in every country or colony, he would set up a Babylonian empire with the full objective of using their scientists, their engineers, and all that to go back out in beyond the firmament. Even if it means breaking up the earth and destroying all the inhabitants in the earth. That's why your cities were really made. Okay, they were made to actually get servants to build Satan's Tower of Babel. But by building it, you would have to rape the earth, destroy the earth, and all that. The sea creatures would begin to die. The farmland would begin to die. The earth would begin to break due to them fracking and all that. And that's the signs of Christ's coming. Satan would destroy the earth using his ministers. Okay? Which are the corporations. So you usually look at the political structure, but no, the CEO are at the top of the pyramids. These are corporate structures, fraternities under Satan. Read.
Verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
So when Satan can no longer go into the council of the Almighty, he began to persecute the children of Israel. That's when he turned Rome against our forefathers in Jerusalem and sacked Jerusalem. We ran into Africa, completing the diaspora or the dispersion of the children of Israel. The Roman Empire, the children of Satan. He used their government to come against us. Read.
Verse 14. And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
And once we were destroyed by the Romans, those who followed Christ's ministry fled into safety, fleeing into other countries, fleeing Roman persecution and slavery. That's how we ended up in Africa and different parts of the world. I'm speaking of the southern kingdom. 700 Semite years before Christ, you had the northern kingdom who was dispersed. So that was our last stand in Jerusalem. After Christ was crucified, it would be a matter of time before Satan would bring forth initiatives through his ministers, the Roman Empire, to kill us off. That's why he says, when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee into the mountains. Read.
Verse 14. And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half time.
So that full period is what? A time and a half of times breaks down from Christ's birth to Christ's second coming. That we would stay in the wilderness scattered until Christ returns. Now it's deep because, again, I went over it years ago, but I'm going to deal with this tomorrow in the academy because I have so many things to do, that it tells you that there's a 3.5 period in the book of Daniel. But it says, blessed is he that make it to the 1335th day, where you make it beyond the 3.5 years of a particular administration. I'm going to go into it in the academy tomorrow, and I'm going to go into it next Sabbath to let you know that we're on course right now according to this election cycle and what they got going on here, where the Most High has given us a window to plan and be where we need to be. When all this stuff, when it's really closed down, when not just you're quarantined in your home, when the earth is quarantined, when your country is 100% quarantined, we will have some space. But the next time they run this, it's going to be deeper than COVID-19, folks. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you what it's going to be in one moment. Finish reading.
That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, times, and a half time from the face of the serpent.
From the face of the serpent. Now hold that. Now let's go into Revelation 8 real quick. 8 and 7, where it says the first angel, because a lot of people think these are chronological orders, but no. These are 7 different events that happens throughout all of time up until the time that Christ returns. There's 7 different things you have to look at. And as we come close to the end, you'll find these 7 more so concentrated, operating more and more frequently as the time draw near. Right? To show you some of the residual effects of the devil coming down, raping and destroying the earth. It's the 7 vials that are let loose in the earth. So he's coming down. Now, once he comes down, his ministers would cause these things to happen. Let's go to Revelation 8 and 7. Let's read it.
Revelation chapter 8, verse 7. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood.
Mingled with blood.
And they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up.
The third part of the trees were burnt up. You're going to hear more frequently, and we've been hearing it almost every year, forest fires. Forest fires. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, because what? The devil hath come down, because he knoweth he have a short time. When we were in authority, guess what? The whole earth rejoiced. The animals were safe. But they're doing all types of things, folks, on the outside of your cities that are causing these fires and all that. Okay? With their contractions, what they're creating. I mean, think about it. They had to test 5G someplace before they put it in your cities. See? They tested in remote areas. The same way they went in the desert years ago and tested nuclear weapons in the desert outside of our cities. So they don't just put this stuff in our cities. They actually test it someplace. And as a result of that, stuff catch on fire and all that. And they'll tell us, oh, it's just a forest fire. It's just this. It's just that. But they're setting up the beast system. Come on, let's go.
The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up.
Come on.
And the second angel sounded, and it was a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea.
Cast into the sea. Now, when something is cast into the sea, what happens? Tsunami. Read.
As it were cast of burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood.
Became blood, like we just showed you in different parts of China, where all the waters are red. Now, if you poison the water, what does that do for the ecosystem? What that does for the animals and people who depend on water to sustain life. Read.
Verse 9. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died.
Exactly. You have whales beaching themselves, frogs beaching themselves, sharks, all that beaching themselves. There's one animal that only stays at the bottom of the sea that actually beached itself a few weeks ago, and you never see this particular creature on beached at all unless there's a great earthquake or something bad is about to happen in the waters. It beached itself on the coast of California. Listen to me clearly now. Read.
It says, and the third part of the ships were destroyed.
Come on.
Verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers.
A third part of the rivers and what?
And upon the fountains of waters.
Come on now. What would happen to the waters? Read.
Verse 11. And the name of the star is called Wormwood.
The name of the star, when you look at that star, it says Astera. Astera. A star strewn over the sky. And it's called wormwood. And in the Greek, wormwood is what? Bitterness, calamity, which is confusion. Wormwood. So if you poison the waters, what would happen? The waters would become bitter. It's not the actual composition of H2O anymore. It's bitter. It's poisoned. And through that, you would have what? An inordinate number of people getting sick. Guess what, folks? This was shown before Flint, Michigan. This was shown, folks, to our prophets, to our leaders under Christ, the disciples. On the Isle of Patmos, John seen it only a few thousand years ago, before there was any place as America. Wormwood. And the third part of the waters, come on.
And the third part of the waters became wormwood.
Wormwood.
And many men died of the waters.
And many men died from drinking the water.
Because they were made bitter.
Because the waters were made bitter. The fracking in the ground. Destroying of wells. Poisoning of wells. Satan angels, Satan agents, their governments would be behind this to destroy our people. Listen to this, folks. You're not going to, listen, I don't care where you're going at and trying to learn this Bible. You're not going to get it quantified to understand it as easy as this any place. The Christian church don't even touch Revelation. We're living in wormwood right now. And the bitter water is causing flu symptoms. For those who are watching their water intake, if you're now living near 5G, they're going to still have you exhibit flu-like symptoms. And for those who are being extra careful, you're going to have their agents, their mercenaries come out while you're quarantined in your house through the wee hours of the night and begin to touch your car and all that and begin to do something. And then guess what, folks? Listen, I'm a man of the Most High, but I wish somebody would be outside my door touching my door with something. We'll find out who they're really working for after that. Because everyone be like, listen, somebody have to come get what was just left on my steps. Okay? Let's go. Let's get it. Come on.
Verse 12. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten.
Okay, I just wanted to deal with the wormwood part because this is going into another prophecy here. Right? You got these demons coming around. You're doing everything you can to be careful for you and your family. And you got some demon, you sitting in quarantine thinking something is out there. And it's some joker running around with his suit on, spitting on stuff and causing issues. Mm-hmm. Touching your private property and all that. That's assault. Don't you know that? That's assault. Don't you know that based on what they're doing here, if you have a symptom, they can lock you away where your family can't see you anymore? That's worse than assault. And see, and that's why they're preparing for riots and all that, because a lot of these cats are going to end up getting caught out there, and the people will be like, y'all done pushed us further enough. This ain't what y'all say it is. That's what they're preparing for. They're pushing the world citizens. They're pushing the believers, provoking believers. Right? 1 second here. Now, let's go back to that mark of the beast real quick in Revelation 13.
Revelation 13, verse 1. And I stood up upon...
No, let's go straight to the mark of the beast.
Yes, sir. Revelation chapter 13, verse number 15.
Come on.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
He had power to give life to the image of the beast.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Should be killed. Because at the end of it, they're going to want all of us to actually deal what? Hold on. Previous. One moment. Read it again.
Revelation 13, verse 15. And they had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So if you don't want to fall to the Roman religion, Babylonian religion and lifestyle, at the end of it, Satan has no use for you. So if you're not going to worship the beast, Satan, then you must be killed. And that goes into that sacrifice we were talking about, folks. He's going to first call those who they call the useless eaters first. And then they're going to aim their direction towards those who were smart enough not to die or actually give themselves up in the first culling, in the first operation. Believe it or not, they're going to get a lot with this one right here of our people who are ignorant, who listen to everything the television tells them. They're going to get a lot of them, folks. And these people are going to get mad at us because we're not taking part of it. And not the government, people we know. Mm-hmm. They think they're better than us. How can they get it? You're going to get us sick. These are the people we have to worry about. Mm-hmm. The government is going to turn people you know as your enemy. That's how it's going to work. The government ain't going to have to really come out and do much. It's going to be your next door neighbors and all that who, because they got it, they feel you should fall under it too. These people are playing with an entirely different set of rules. Come on.
Verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great.
Small and great, read.
Rich and poor.
Rich and poor.
Free and bond.
Free and bond.
To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, being that there's so much technology with what? 5G, the frequencies of the air. When people get chipped, how will you know that they're chipped? Because they're not going to outright tell you. Let's now go to Revelation 16 and 1.
Revelation chapter 16, verse 1.
Yes, let's hit it.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth.
Come on.
And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth.
Now, when they pour out these vials, understand that the powers that be, the satanic systems that are set up, are now allowed to do certain things on the earth against the disobedient, those fornicators, those sinners, those who have always fought against the Almighty. So when these vials are poured out, that's permission. See? Now these governments can act and say, well, okay, we got full board to kill the fornicators, those that are dealing with alternative lifestyles. We can now do what we want to do. The molesters, everyone. We can just cut loose on a satanic or a disobedient world. They belong to us. See? Come on.
And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast.
Hold up now. A grievous sore fell upon them who had that mark in Revelation 13. Now, why did a grievous sore fall upon them? With all the electronics and the 5G and all of what you would call invisible frequencies in the air, it's going to start agitating some of these things. And if they have it in their hand, you will see a sore where the injection happened. So even those that you don't know, because they're going to try to keep it real hush. They just like the sister say she was called the other day being quarantined to go into the doctor's office so that they can speak to her about something. And she's like, no, I'm not coming down there. During this time, they're going to be contacting people and all that and say, well, listen, we have a system in place. You can come down and you can get your money. You can get relief and all that. No one will know about it. You can come and get your injection. No one will know. And this way, you don't have to worry about being quarantined and all that. We'll be able to monitor your sickness and all that from home. We'll know if you're okay to actually operate within the beast system. That's coming with the next rollout, folks. So it's going to be a lot of people that we don't know, family members and all, who went down there and got that mark of the beast without telling us. But the Bible tells us how to recognize it for the righteous. Because you're going to be able to look at it, because with all the electronics out here, it's going to cause that grievous sore to be seen. Read it.
It says here in verse 3, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea.
And every living soul died in the sea. So at the end of this, drilling wells and drilling all that, wormwood, the only waters that will be left in the earth are the waters under Lebanon, and the Mediterranean Sea will be the only clean waters. The Atlantic and the Pacific, folks, will be dead. The Nile River will be dried up. The only waters left in the earth that'll be clean for drinking is the waters under Lebanon and the Mediterranean Sea, and all of the filtered little ponds and all that, and little areas that actually comes out of the Mediterranean, which is the Most High Sea. The rest of the earth waters will be bitter through wormwood, and whoever drink them will get sick, and all these symptoms we are seeing and exhibiting right now. It's coming. So that's what we're in. We're in the time of wormwood, where they can give you water and all that, and by you drinking the water, exhibit certain behaviors because the waters are bitter and they become poison against the image of the Almighty. So the question is now, how do we stay safe through this, right? Knowledge is power. Right? Let's get it, Elder Lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Ephesians 4:30. Let's get Revelation 7:1. Revelation 7:1 and Ephesians 4:30. Because why? We're marked. Now, our mark come with an entirely different set of rules that helps and saves us at the time in which the disobedient are being marked. Right? Let's get it real quick.
Revelation 7 verse 1.
Let's read it.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth.
Standing on the 4 corners of the earth.
Holding the 4 winds of the earth.
Holding the 4 winds, which is the destruction that will be allowed on this earth. What you see the governments in the earth doing now. Read.
That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Come on.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God.
Now there's a seal of the living God. that seals the righteous, the elect, until the day of redemption. I'm going to go there too, because the Most High knew this day would come, where the disobedient would begin to get judged and the mark of the beast system rolled out. He's seen that for the disobedient. But what did he see for the righteous, you might ask? Read.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
Until we had what?
Sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
Let's seal the servants of the Almighty. Let's mark them. Satan has his mark for the disobedient. We have our mark for the righteous. And those with this mark can be guided through by the Almighty. They'll be led in their conscience. They'll be gathered together, and the angels will guide them through this. Read.
Verse 4, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
Of who?
Of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
Of all the tribes of the children of Israel, folks. Of all the tribes of the children of Israel, there was 12,000 to be sealed out of each tribe. They would receive a seal, an entry seal, at the day of their baptism. And leaders would be chosen. Just read the names, 12,000 each. Read.
Yes, sir. Judah,
the so-called Negro.
Reuben.
In America. Reuben, the Aborigines of Australia in those areas. 12,000 men sealed. Read.
Gad.
And these are men who through time, since that time given to John, since that time would be over churches, folks. These are leaders under Christ. Gad, North American Indian, 12,000.
Asher,
the Colombians and parts of Venezuela, 12,000. Read.
Naphtali,
the Fiji Islands, Hawaii, the southern seas, 12,000. Read.
Manasseh,
the Cubans, 12,000. Read.
Simeon,
the Dominicans, 12,000. Read.
Levi,
the Haitians, 12,000. Now, this is not including those because Judah, Benjamin, and Levi is still predominantly in West Africa. They're already included. So they're in that number too. Levi, 12,000. Read.
Issachar,
the so-called Mexicans, 12,000 leaders who understand the blood of Christ and baptism and is sealed for it. Read.
Zebulun,
the Panamanians and the coast of Panama, Costa Rica, and those areas, 12,000. Read.
Joseph,
Ephraim, Puerto Rico, 12,000. Read.
Benjamin,
who raveneth like a wolf. That's right. Jamaica, West Indies, 12,000, the warriors. Come on.
Let's sit on that.
Come on, let's go.
Yes, sir. Verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number.
And then there was a great multitude that no man could number. Read.
Of all nations and kindreds and people.
All nations, kindreds, and people. So yes, all the rest of the Israelites would fall into this as the body. But guess what? The Most High had a ministry that would convert the Gentiles who would be called by the Most High's name, who can be sealed for their purpose in the kingdom to come. See? But it first starts with the leaders. And the Most High have to first tear down all Edomite authority over the word. They're straight garbage. When I'm saying that, the Roman Empire's doctrine, garbage. Okay? The new Protestants' doctrine, garbage. It's all Jesuit misdirection. We're telling you about the real seals of the Most High. The satanic Kenneth Copelands and all others over the prosperity movement are pushing TD Jakes and all of them to receive the mark of the beast with all their followers. So the Most High must tear down their garbage. So he have awakened Israel in these last days with the true ministry of Christ to free people for that remnant who would find a path out. Ephesians 4:30. Let's go.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse number 30.
Come on.
And grieve not the Holy Spirit of God.
Now going forward, once we come out of this feast of unleavened bread and have taken the leavening out, the Most High has now cleansed our spirit through Christ's blood. We remember this sacrifice on Passover day. Let's change now. Let's change. Let's be a better person for the Almighty this day forward. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. Let's put out that old leaven and say, you know what? By the time Passover comes, if the Most High give me another Passover, he'll see a new man or a new woman this time next year. Okay? I'm going to protect that fragile spirit that the Most High have given me and sealed me with, which is the mark of Christ. The mark of the beast, which is Satan, he has his mark, and Christ's blood is ours. Read.
And grieve not the Holy Spirit of God, whereby ye are sealed unto the day of redemption.
And we are what?
Sealed unto the day of redemption.
We are sealed unto the day of redemption, folks. That's our mark. That's the mark you read of in Revelation 7. That's that mark. So you don't have to fear. That mark comes with baptism. Because that's at the point where you begin to what? Examine yourself. Confess your sins before the Almighty and ask for purification. Now you're unleavened now. You didn't put it. Now the weight is off for you now. And he's giving you another opportunity that you know, at least you know in the day of judgment, your sins from that time backward aren't shown in the day of judgment. So that gate, that way, that mark that will lead us, where the angels will guide us through the earth. One moment. That mark, which would lead us through this, folks, comes with baptism. And I'm at a point where, and I told elders, listen, if any group or all that don't want to receive the baptism of Christ or try to say there's not a prerequisite, I'm not even going back and forth with them anymore. That's between them and the Most High. You're not going to convince me not to do what Christ did. Okay? Christ is the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh to the Father but by him. And he was showing that way of purification while the Pharisees and scribes looked off. And even John, even before that, says, you vipers, who have warned you from the judgment to come. Bring forth works meets for repentance. That means you need to get your butt down here and get clean too. Okay? So I'm not even going back and forth. If anyone try to convince you that it's not mandatory to do exactly what Christ did, is an antichrist. It's an antichrist. So right there, I don't even have to converse. I don't have to debate. No, listen, you're a dead man walking anyway. You're one of the children of disobedience. You will not have the guidance to get from one place to the next in the spirit if you don't first examine and clean yourself. Matthew 28 and 19. Let's read it. Matthew 28 and 17. Because this is what Christ commanded his church to do. His disciples to do.
Mm-hmm. St. Matthew chapter 28, verse number 17.
Let's read it. 28 and 17.
Yes, sir. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted.
He says, when they saw Christ, some worshipped him, but others doubted.
And Yeshua came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
Christ showed him after his resurrection. All power has been given unto me in heaven and in earth. I got the power now to release those souls in the bosom of Abraham and to judge those souls that were bound in hell. And I'm going to go into those souls that were bound, the angels that fell, and the fall before that. I usually go into that week 2, right?
Week 2, yes, sir.
I'm going to touch on it tomorrow, but week 2 of the Hebrew Bible Academy, I'm going to go into the fallen gods. The fallen gods, the gods of this world. And we're also going to hit on Antarctica in this academy, where their original layers were during the time of the Ice Age while the earth was created. This is where those fallens were bound. They were bound in the ice. I'm going to go into that tomorrow, a matter of fact. Read on. I'm talking about the real leaders over your politicians. The fallen ones. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Verse 19. Go ye therefore and teach all nations.
Go there and teach what?
All nations.
All nations mean all races of people. Don't let no one tell you that means Israel scattered exclusively and no other people. That's nonsense. That's nonsense, okay? You have to teach all people because what? The Most High is not going to have unbelieving Gentiles serving in the kingdom of heaven. They need to believe and be baptized and covered to make it in to serve. Okay? Just like when I go into Cornelius and they be like, well, Cornelius was an Israelite. I'm like, okay, show me that. Then they'll go to, areas of Italy and I'm like, okay, that's Italy. Show me Cornelius is an Israelite. Well, they was converting in Italia. There was this, there was that in this landmass. And here's some black pictures of people in Italy who are Jews. Show me that Cornelius was an Israelite. It said that he was a devout man. There's no one in scriptures where Esau is devout. So by default, 1 + 1 = 3. Cornelius must be an Israelite. Show me in that scripture of Cornelius where Cornelius is an Israelite.
Right.
You can't. So if you can't, shut up. You are a liar. Because the Bible tell you in Amos that he would take from amongst, Amos 9, they would take amongst Edom and the nations a people for his name to serve in the kingdom because Esau haven't served yet. The Bible tells us in Genesis 25 that the elder shall serve the younger. So if Esau can't make it in to serve, how will he fulfill that prophecy given to him in Genesis 25? That's the reason why the Most High converted Cornelius. So when these people come with this foolishness, understand they don't know the gospel and they're not sealed anyway. Read it. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse number 19. Go therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son.
All nations. So that means I don't care what your race is. If you're willing to serve the living God, the God of Abraham, and denounce Buddhist teachings, Islam, pagan Christianity, there's enough water for all of us because we were all born out of it. Be baptized for the remission of sins and receive that seal that seals us until the day of the redemption. Doesn't matter what your race is. Doesn't matter. And a lot of people say, well, hey, I'm not going to become a part of that church if they got other nations around. Guess what? We're not going to miss you. We don't know you anyway.
That's right.
Who you? A lot of people just hold themselves. You think you're special, don't you? So what? Nobody asked you to be around anyway. Hey, they teach the white people. I got white people. Listen, the Bible says make friends with mammon in the day of trouble. You don't want to be running around with nothing and wondering why you've isolated yourself. You've already quarantined yourself. Where the Most High put a spirit. I mean, a spirit on someone to help you in the day of a trouble, and because he don't look like you, you're going to starve you and your family out. Foolishness. Read it again.
Go ye therefore and teach all nations.
Teach all nations. And there's no one that's going to be a part of this work and exhibit any hate against any race. Not in Christ's work. Not in Christ's work. Because it tell you in the kingdom that it will be a house of prayer for all nations. The nations are going to love Christ's kingdom. Okay? There's not going to be no wickedness and raping and molestation and killing what we see today. It's going to be total righteousness. Imagine a whole earth, not just Israel, serving the law of God. That's when it's real peace. And that starts with us. It don't start for us waiting for it, because the kingdom cometh not by observations. How we operate with our fellow man, our brothers and sisters today, is how we're going to act in the kingdom of heaven. We have to rehearse the righteous acts today. And if someone mean us harm or want to do something wrong, that's between them and the Most High. We're still going to love them as our neighbors. Okay? Finish reading.
Baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, so they can receive that seal. Now, what you do with that seal is between you and the Most High. See? We're just doing our part. We got you to the water, but now it's up to you to nurture that seed, to nurture that spirit, to build on that spirit, to study with that spirit, to now execute the righteousness that come by receiving the Holy Spirit. We can just take you to the water, but you have to what? They say you have to drink, but you have to be submerged and care for that spirit that seals you to the day of redemption. So we talked about the bitter water which is wormwood, that Satan is going to use to poison or to come against the unrighteous for sacrifice. But also out of some of that water comes redemption, where what the devil does have no power over us. See? Come on.
Verse 20, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you.
So when you baptize the people, you teach them to observe what?
What I have commanded you.
What Christ commanded us. That's why we don't care what others think concerning baptism. We're doing what Christ commanded us, knowing that you cannot receive the seal without it. See? All Israel is not of Israel. That's why Paul wrote that. You shall know them by their fruit, their love, their care for the ministry, and their care for others. And not just Israelites. You must care for all of the Most High's creation to understand what the kingdom is about. Yes, I know I'm an Israelite. I love being Israel. But I know part of that understanding of being a prince of the Most High is to have the respect for all of his creation. Okay? To have a care for all he created. I know that's the fruits of the Spirit. That just go beyond me just being a physical Israelite. Come on, let's go.
Teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world.
I'm with you always, even to where?
Even unto the end of the world.
You notice he says, I'm with you always. Baptize the people so that they can receive this seal, and I'll be with you always unto the end of the world. I'll guide you through this. Moses guided you first. But I'll guide you through this. I have these angels protecting you. Don't get caught up into hysteria and panicking and all that. Put off your sin and follow that unleavened spirit so that you have a clear conscience to be guided in the day of trouble. Okay? Now, with that, we're going to pray out. We're going to do our anointments in a minute, but let me make a few announcements. Hold tight. I have a few more things that I would like to relay to you. Okay. On your screen is the updated information to support the work. We need your support more so than any other time in preparation for what's to come. Okay. I'm going to go to the website and show you that real quick. But before I do that, let me first let you know that on your screen is the Cash App. Okay. And the Cash App will allow us to get finances to help and do what we need to do. Okay. And once this thing opens up a little bit, we're going to be able to come to your areas, preach, bring the understanding, and have it where you'll be able to follow us going forward. Okay. And have our meetings privately that we cannot have over this thing here. Okay. On the Cash App for our online elders donation, that's $GOCC 144 donate. $GOCC 144 donate. That's the online ministry. If this ministry has affected you, because this is separate from the church's ministry. This is offerings directly to myself, Elder Lawyer, to continue this ministry and make sure we before you with any equipment or whatever else, and to help our houses as we help you. Okay. Also under that, for members of the church who can't gather, and others, if you want to tithe, if you tithe in offerings for the Gathering of Christ Church itself, which is a separate entity from our donations online, you would go $gathering 144. I keep on saying gathering. That's a mistake. One gathering, not gather. I got gathering on the brain. That's what made a mistake yesterday. Gather 144 GOCC. Gather $gather 144 GOCC. And that goes directly to the Cash App. If you paying tithes, you can't gather right now, and we'll make sure it goes where it needs to go for the church. Now, on your screen real quick, let me give y'all some updates on what you would need to know. Okay, 1 second. On your screen right here, right? If you go to gatheringofchrist.org, you will see a donate page where it says gatheringofchrist.org/donate/. Okay. If you go here, this will give you all the details on how to support, be it through if you have a credit card, PayPal, Cash App, money order, whichever way, because we're going to need your contributions to help our people in this time. Okay. That's why I'm emphasizing this. We can't get on planes. We can't do certain things unless we have resources to do so. Okay. So if you go to gatheringofchrist.org, donate, this will give you all the information, all the correct information up to date. Also on the web page, as you can see, if you go home, you have everything here. Okay. We have, if you want to know what we believe, our beliefs are right here. The holy days, you see the Academy has popped up. You can subscribe to the Academy. You don't want to miss it tomorrow. You see the calendar that puts you on the correct days as far as Sabbaths. It's there. The breakdown of the 12 tribes is here. Resources of our library of all the different resources there. Our preaching resources when it comes to literature. I Am Apparel. If you want to clothe your family, we have our own clothing shop. Family Corner. So if you want to know about testimonies, health, beauty, blog, cooking, health, Sabbath exemptions. A lot of people don't know you got Sabbath exemption forms for your work in case you need to get off Sabbaths. Vaccine exemption forms in case people are trying to force vaccinations on you. All of that is right here on your Family Corner. A lot of you don't know that's available for you. Survival planning, as far as prepping for food, and those that followed this Family Corner didn't have to worry about what was going on with Corona. Natural living, Rise of Israel, spiritual food, you name it. We got GOCC network that have all the products that you would need in case you can't get it from your stores. We got many brothers and sisters with a lot of products that can be sent straight to your home. This is one-stop shopping to help our nation. You can actually view our YouTube Sabbath directly from the gatheringofchrist.org. Okay? You go here and hit this button, and guess what? Eventually, you're going to find us here. We're establishing a database now so that you can watch all of our lessons directly from there. Okay? So all in all, I had to put that out there for you so you can know the gatheringofchrist.org has much more than you would probably believe. And that's going to be our fallback plan. We have people working on it as we speak in case YouTube get crazy and try to cut us off, because we know that time is coming. Know that our only connection until that changes will be through our really Ustream Hebrew and Bible Academy. That's where we tell you to enroll, and our website, which will redirect you in case YouTube goes down altogether and become mainstream. Okay. Now, I just want to put that out there to you because we're going to need your support, brothers and sisters, for the next phase of this. The kingdom cometh not by observation. And what I would suggest for you all right now, as you can see, you can do the Cash App, $GOCC144, donate. And that helps us with the Sabbath services and all the stuff you see here. That's what you give directly to us, separate from the church. If you want to tithe to the church, it's $gather 144 GOCC. That's it. Okay. Now, what I would suggest for those who are listening, make sure once this thing open up, brothers and sisters, that you get your passports. For those who have been procrastinating on this, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's no time to procrastinate. Okay, once this open up, go to your. I don't know if the mail is still open. The post offices, right?
I have to actually check that.
I think the post office is a life-sustaining scenario. So you don't even have to wait for this to open. That's someplace you can go. Yeah. Order your passports. Okay, order your passports, folks. Because soon they're going to break the country down into different regions in which you're going to need the real ID to travel. But one thing about the passport that will already give you your international travel that would work even from one state to the next. Okay. We have a meeting with the elders this coming Tuesday to talk about how this has affected our members in all areas and what we can do to help and guide them through that. Okay. But right now, the only thing dealing with it, one piece at a time. Make sure you get your passports. Okay, please get your passport. All right. And
site.
Yeah, the site isn't down altogether. It's when you go to let's see here. The site isn't down, is it? Only when you go to, is it down? That's deep.
Maybe because the video section usually has videos there.
That would be deep. Error establishing a database connection. That's interesting. It was up. Well, don't worry about it. We'll have our team work on it behind the closed doors and find out what's going on. That's the first time I've ever seen that error. Maybe it caught a virus. Maybe the Gather of Christ, because it's a one-stop shop there, folks. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's because so many people after seeing it, they probably went into it all at once. So. It could be, and it just sometimes it's that too. So we're gonna see if it can handle the traffic. Okay, I don't know, but that's interesting in itself. But don't worry about it. We'll have it up by tomorrow. In the meantime, let's see here. Hopefully, in the meantime, let me show you this here. I know this is up, historytimes.org. So you can go to historytimes.org and you can still get the calendar here and you can enroll in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. So we have backup for backups. historytimes.org. We still there, right? And you can still contribute from this page if you would like. historytimes.org. That's still there. Okay. And again, if you want to support the music, let me put that out there. Royalty music by Shepherd, right? When you go to Royalty Music by Shepherd, there's a web page, right? I think it's here. Let me type it in here. Live. Royalty Music. Let me see, is this still up? By Shepherd.com. Man, that don't look good. Huh? Oh, I spelled it wrong? No, I didn't. Royalty Music by Shepherd.com. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's not right. Y'all scaring me, man. I was almost scared. You almost scared me there. I'm like, hold up. Are they taking down everything? Oh, there it is. All right. Royalty Music by Shepherd. If you want to be a part of listening to the project, it's a very spiritually, inspirationally charged audio. I'm gonna tell you, you can download and actually you can get the whole album right here. Royalty Music, royaltymusic.com if you want to get the inspirational music. Okay. Royalty Music by Shepherd. They almost scared me there, but it's okay. If you want to support the church going forward. So what we want to do now, all praises be to the Most High. Please get with your passports. What we would like to make sure you're up on the things you can do so that whatever laws are in place, brothers and sisters, there's options. Okay, a lot of things that we're looking to do to help our people spread the gospel and understand the gospel of Christ, we have to discuss within the body itself, outside of these platforms. But know that we're doing everything we can to help the Most High's people. And the part you can do is make sure you can support, because the more resources we have, the more we as a church can get done. Okay, with that, Elder Lawyer, I would like you to say a prayer, an anointment prayer for those in this house, for the whole body. We can do it in Hebrew and in English if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. And to ask the Most High to hedge and protect us up until the time and to guide us to this first fruits. Because I believe the next first fruits, or what the Bible calls, what the Bible calls in the New Testament, Pentecost. I believe we stay in this unleavened spirit, in a singular mind as a body, that the Most High is going to do something great with this church, with this body, at that seventh interval. Okay? At first fruits. I believe that our people are going to need healing. They're going to need clarity that can only come through one who's teaching through the Holy Spirit. They're going to need guidance. And I believe that if we do this in unity of faith, and brothers and sisters put off the evil, and now we're in one mind, no dissension, no division, that the Most High will anoint us with that spirit that came down on the disciples to lead our people through this. Like I said, the devil is going to do what he's going to do, but the Most High will do what he has always done: protect his people. So, Elder Lawyer, if you can, do a prayer for us here.
Yes, sir, we'll do. Start off with the anointing prayer. Ahaya Bahashim Yashai Wabawak. Yabaraka Ahaya, Wayashamaraka, Ya'a Ahaya Panyawa, Aliyaka, Wayakhanka, Yasha Ahaya Panyawa, Aliyaka, Wayashamlaka, Shalom.
Shalom.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, and say unto them, The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift thee or lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace, and they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Amen.
Amen. Ahaya Bashim Yeshai Warawak, I ask you, as a servant, as a humble servant, to forgive our trespasses and all the sins we as a nation, we as a people have committed against you. Forgive our trespasses, anoint us, keep us unleavened, send forth your Holy Spirit to guide your people in this time of trouble. I ask you to send forth the spirit of humility, forgiveness, and love amongst your church. Send forth the angels to hedge and to protect every man, woman, and child, those within and without, who seeking your guidance during this time of trouble. We ask you to judge the wicked and the evil, who has always battled and fought against your righteous. We ask you to stand for us as we keep your commandments, guide your people to the water, and bring forth the kingdom of heaven. As your humble servants in the Lord and the Lord Yeshua, we thank you for your sacrifice. We thank you for your blood. And we thank you for through that blood, you have forgiven the sins of this great nation. Ahaya B'Hashem Yeshaya, please bring the judgment swiftly, yet guide us through it. We thank you for the church, every member of the church, every man, woman, and child who have sacrificed their time and their life to uphold the righteousness as a beacon of light for our people. We ask you through this time of trouble, please protect them. Please protect those who are part of the gathering of Christ Church. Protect the fatherless. Protect the widows. Protect those that are without husbands. Protect all families. Please help us through this. Only you can. And we ask you during the time of that feast, that sacrifice that was done for the children of Israel on Calvary. In the name of Ahaya B'Hashem Yeshaya Thawada Tamyad, heal us. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We thank you, brothers and sisters, and we'll see you tomorrow in our Hebrew and Bible Academy. Shalom.
Shalom.
Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.